Reflections of Soul 2026. Greg R. Norton. I've awoken this morning and gotten some reading done and had some breakfast and have situated myself here on this bed to write, or at least to get a few thoughts down, somewhat to orient myself unto the grain which the paper is made of. This will put me in relation to this morning in the best way that I know how. Writing like this will usually find a way onto my pages if I'm receptive and patient enough to wait on it. And then I'll be in the best position to make a trip over to the main office after I get these medicines. It's good to see this work come through. When I'm under pressure, it means that my better half is on her mark. I remember so vividly what it's like to feel so alone, with no way to alleviate my pain, except by doping myself with inebriating chemicals. At any rate, I'll be glad to get on the road this morning. Another mostly sunny day is in store for us today. Road trips aren't so bad when the weather's good, and when the inner walk, the walk of life, is smooth in guidance and assurance. At any rate, we'll each have our meeting with our team and get back to our apartments, hopefully in time for an afternoon snack. A thermos of ice cube water is very good when you're hot and tired. I'm just passing the time until then by getting down these thoughts into this smart device's word processor while we're at the doctor's office and take care of this. Today is the 4th Tuesday in July this year. This might be the hottest time of the summer for us. Our waiting line is dwindling, and then we'll get started back. Riding over here, the lunch hour traffic was busy. It should be less now. If we can get away ahead of the 5 o'clock traffic, that will be good, and we can get on home. At any rate, our air conditioning is good at home. But I've always just liked wearing layers. This is a bit of writing from July of this past year, back in the hottest heat of the year. I'm starting out this writing with this segment, as I had previously thought that I had lost it from my devices forever. So, it was nice this afternoon to find this file again on this device, and to include it here. There is an expression I like remembering, which about covers the way our elderly, and disabled, and special needs peoples everywhere feel about life in general. When there are mobility, or health, or housing, or banking questions, or insurance, or logistics matters, or even interior decor considerations. It goes something like, everything's going to be alright, as long as I've got some say in things. Having lived both with and without power over most, or some of my affairs, I've come to see that having a writing path such as this is, or in producing and publishing of digital audiovisual media, going where the heart's compass leads, in literature, such as this, is the distillation of some of the finest dreams of the blessings of liberty, in general, that could ever be. Our religions talk of a savior, or hero, who is born in a rustic stable, and arises from those lowly, or humble origins, to lead the whole peoples into freedom. Have you ever? In a way, Mother Nature is something like mankind's savior, who really sacrificed, and died, to provide for us our luxuries. Isn't this, then, what the animals go by? A religion so austere, and legendary, and enshrined enough to appeal to their truths, and their harsh realities? By the same token, it is man who is tasked with designing the technology that might even allow for our planetary life, in general, animals included, to escape to other stars, to other planets. It is thought that the Earth's resources will one day be depleted, and we'll all have to progressively move to some younger, habitable planet, and colonize anew and begin again. So, this is why I think that writing, music, art of any kind, and crafts, especially seen as a younger person's path, are something like the planet's practical religion, her church, a place where good wits, and the planet's substantive intelligence quotients get focused and directed into, and emulating somewhat, for this very reason, to hone the senses, and fine-tune the intellect, and develop the science, to eventually escape the Earth's gravitational field, and travel to the stars and other planets. But nature's cornucopia appears both unlimited and finite. Nowhere is this seen better than in the planet's natural resources. Food, medicine, building materials, the growing up and cultivation of plant and animal, and mineral life has strengthened and clothed and sheltered our mankind for millennia. Just think of how reliant our modern peoples are upon minerals and metallurgy. not to mention cotton from the cotton plant, leather from ranch animals, and synthetic fibers from coal and oil. Well, these thoughts, and others, are running around up in my mind this evening. I'm getting them down onto paper so that I'll have a good beginning for a new set of writings. At any rate, this evening I'm telling myself to get beneath the matted tangle of hair shafts behind my nose, and allow the cool air to flow around and into the tender hair follicle roots. I only must remind myself of my yoga stretch visualization, which allows me to center my consciousness between my upraised arms. This mental visualization is very useful to somewhat diffuse the tender, painful throbbing in the middle of my face tonight. When I am allowed freedom from pain, in a time such as this one is, my voice can easily ascend along the arc of the starry night or day sky, right up into the heavenly canopy above. I tell myself also to fine-tune my perceptual senses. This saying, here just lately, is like the central jewel in the crown of such glory. So often I'm averse to such a pain as is felt in my jaw, at times. For instance, such overload, such that I shirk away from these sensations, telling myself that feelings are sharp for a good reason, when you look at the tragedies on the far side of the planet. Such a fine-tuning of your six senses shows plainly which directions of travel are appropriate, and which are based in illusion and mirage. Fine-tuning, I've recently discovered, is the way into real discernment. It is in this way that electromagnetic wave reception can be gotten onto the clearest signal image, where the right understandings are found, by default. As long as one is in pursuit of the windmills of illusion, and false information, and bad data, you'll continue to bang your head against the proverbial wall. The hairs, and tender follicles, inside of your nose and face, are like a highly sensitive antennae array. So, in a real sense, the task is to fine-tune the matted tangle, fine-tune the antennae array. When at first one sees this perceptual finery, you'll understand now how, if left unattended, a complex antennae array just gets overloaded and overheated, trying to amplify different signals. Broken down, corroded, and corrupted, and twisted. I've myself lived most of my adult life in the throbbing pain of this sometimes unacknowledged information, wrapping on my proverbial endowed pain. Only in the recent 2 years have I been shown how the upstretched arms, as in a mental visualization, seem to best relieve the stress and tension of being so small amid the powerful sorcerers of living. One should really write a lot, or perform and record much music, because one's internal radio is such an finely made instrument that this fine-tuning of such yields splendors previously unimagined. As if from thin air, information is continually flowing all around ourselves, like the invisible air itself. Having a spirit guide to help you read from off of the antennae array is the secret, if you ask me. I'm so glad to have gotten this present writing into shape, for such time when it can eventually be published, and seen and read. My usual offline writing device is temporarily out of service, as I'm currently awaiting a new battery for it to be shipped to me. Anytime an old battery starts swelling, and causing the device to come apart, it's always time to order a new battery. At any rate, the day is Monday, the 1st of December, and I awoke and early, had a bite to eat, and gotten myself situated to work on this writing, prior to our morning meeting, for our medicines. I have a spindle of blank DVDs, and I have been busy doing some year-end archiving, and making some Christmas gifts. My gift giving this year will probably consist in the 3 latest Greg at the Piano video DVD discs. These are all the latest clips, from since I've been back in this town. So that means I'll have something to work on this week. At any rate, I'm glad to get this latest writing a little further along. So getting these thoughts down will hopefully help these ideas begin a new set of writings for the new year, 2026. After a pleasant morning of working on these goals, I've sat down, again, with this writing opened on this device's word processor, to see if my ideas will work. Now, as a young man, I was confused by mental phenomena, not seeing the problems with my actions at the time. So, I said, this is schizophrenia. But, as the years passed, and I grew more experienced with the phenomena, and brought my behavior in line with society's conventions, this type of way of seeing became something like a set of regular constants, almost like fixed points, or fixed stars, through which my mind perceives the currents of ordinary life. In other words, such has become a fairly steady place to hang my hat, and find common understanding, all within the ever-changing tide and currents of the individual human consciousness. I'd say, it is the solitary soul, who is most concerned with this, because that's just the problem. Such a one might not initially have conformed to the standards of the encompassing society. The person might well have been so absorbed in his thoughts, and memories, and dreams, perhaps pursuing addictions, and illusory goals, that he's virtually out of contact with his encompassing society, in the worst cases. I think that this is, in brief, the main reason we have the mental health care system, for instance, because certain ones will have too much absorption, and will be fantasy prone. These sometimes need hands to hold. They say that Nikola Tesla worked in concert and harmony with these fixed stars, found in absorption. One of his quotes was said to be, writing his life going to bed with a notebook, and waking up with a finished manuscript. I think that the extremely vivid colors of the visionary's artistic expression are what life comes down to. Notions of fixed stars, by which we measure ourselves. To paraphrase, seeing in this manner brings us into contact with real passion. Aging is decay, and death. Hunger is delayed gratification. But there must be a higher plane, a whole another scene, a life imperishable. Won't we one day become as the stars in the heavens, flowing within the dreamer's dream? Perhaps outside of it as well. And that's an interesting question. I've always thought how heaven might be above, behind, and around the explicate universe, only with portals somewhat into its infinity. What do you think? Beginning a new book is sometimes a challenging time for a writer, but when he sees the pains in his mind and body junction as being only the veil through which a classic work is given, then the usual pains are of little significance. The dull throbbing tenderness might be only caused by the stale air trapped within a tangled mat of inner hair, each individual tangled shaft fastened into a tender follicle root. Seeing how this is sometimes, how by focusing on this type of tangle, usually squaring such pains between the upstretched arms, the sun salute, it tends to dissolve. The person will be progressively less mystified by the unknowns of the usual migraines of creation. Of course, I'm seeing it this way, because I've had more than 3 decades of experience in trying to solve puzzles such as these, and I had arrived at understanding, somewhat by default. I knew that I would eventually learn the ways of these pains and pressures, and sure enough, I have somewhat seen them for what they are. At any rate, I combined 3 different documents, each from a different time period, to make this writing come together. Having gotten situated after bedtime medicines, here, I can't put the concluding flourishes on such, and consider adding it in with the others. It has been a long day, and I'm about ready for good sleep. All for now. I'll send this along your way now. Have a good weekend. On a great and leery winter's day, such as this one, it might be helpful to remember just where we left off the previous afternoon. It was with a distinct spate of fussiness, I seem to remember, that we solved the last of yesterday's problems. This, I think, was caused by a simple mistake, around the time of our evening meeting. The mistake seemed to have been centered in the ambiguities around whether online work is or isn't allowed around evening medicine time. Part of myself said, yes, you can do publishing work around this time of medicine meetings. When you've got the long wait in line, you might find something to do, to pass the time, on your phone. But, part of me was strongly against this type of thing, categorically. So, part of me said yes, I can optimize my time by doing this online work while we wait, and part of me said no, wait. This episode was hard on myself, and I concluded that we should avoid any extraneous distraction around the time of medicines, no matter what. Medicine time is medicine time, and such doesn't appear to be for extracurricular activities, or any online publishing work, or online gaming, for instance. So, you can see and understand the nature of the episode yesterday evening. I could see that anything so distracting as that could only be a mistake at such time, and no one likes dumbly making a mistake. So I was angry with myself, and lost more than an hour belaboring this dumb issue. At any rate, These are the types of difficulties that arise, sometimes, when grown-up people have to live together, as a group. You see, we all come from unique and different backgrounds. When I was growing up, as a teenager, my dad was a commercial art director. This prepared myself for a role of online content developer. Many people will not have ever thought that their Facebook or their YouTube is the same thing as having a book contract or recording contract. But these two concepts are basically, essentially the same. Either way, your work gets into the hands of anonymous readers, anywhere in the world. With social media, i.e. desktop publishing, the results are the same. You'll accomplish the same goal, just without the man in the middle. So this is the way I internalize a dumb mistake, and try and remember the lesson for the future. I can't work on writing and compose text at any time. But any time distant servers are involved, it would have to wait until after medications time. So, lesson learned, I tell myself, conclusively, well, today has been the second Monday in December, this year. This has been the first day, with my new piano album, the December 3.2 project. This is a 38-minute sound experience, which you can have and possess for free. I'm quite happy with it. As such shows what my latest ability ranges can do. We may have had a cloudy, gray day today, but on the aside, my heart was happy. It really makes the inner lights shine when we can make and give something that makes someone's day in that good way. I only wish that more people knew the joy which comes through sharing homemade gifts. This to me is the meaning of the internet. I know how having all human knowledge in the palm of everyone's hand is somewhat close to the heart of this year's Christmas, as well. But just in sharing your talents, this too is good. So Christmas season is really meaningful, now, in more ways than one. At any rate, these are just some thoughts. My mind gets confused sometimes, and I just want to slow down and take things one inkling at a time. I think that it's better to have writing like this at the top of my time, today, than to be overwhelmed and burdened by the weight of the baggage of unexpressed ideas, trying to get out, in one's now. It's almost always better, to myself, to articulate just what is in my mind, at this time, than to gropingly be at a loss for words. It might hurt somewhat to get ideas to come out clearly, onto the empty page, like this, but at least you'll then have this expression to stand for your time, such as this island. Better to have a glimpse such as this is, than to be wholly empty, and without words, when one's moment arises. At any rate, I've myself got these words, coming onto the page right now, which really outmeasures any hollowness, or emptiness which might be otherwise. As I'm sitting here thinking these thoughts, I'm impressed by how much better it is to have thoughts, onto this page, like this, than to have none whatsoever, than to be mute and unthinking. To be just be a passer-through. Such a conclusive expression is much better than to have none at all. Well, I hope that you can see the honesty in these thoughts. Without this definite telling, I would be lost in silence, and without thinking of any time, as I take accounting here tonight. Well, this is the end of this day, somewhat, and I'm grateful to be developing this equity. As I'm sitting here, I can easily imagine getting my hands and arms upstretched past the sides of my head and face, now, and this allows me the sense of threading the needle, somewhat showing my heart as well, right now. At any rate, I'm happy to have this pleasant mood, tonight, and am looking at the good sense in these words, and am feeling grateful. The overwhelming feeling I have, now, is that without having any sense in my words, in my language usage, I would be as lost, and bewildered as an idiot, with no sense whatsoever. Spirit is present, when her good wits are holding the ideas used together, like a concerto in the park. Such stands out in a good way from the randomness of any wild nature. I'm sure glad to have these ideas so strongly, and can't hardly wait to listen to the clarity and cohesiveness such as they're played back as audio. I'm glad to have this to offer. Well, these thoughts are beginning to come to their conclusion, into here, so I'll try to wrap them up, and add them in with the others. Now, this is the conclusion of the second article in this first part of this Reflections of Soul audiobook. Today, I'll see how the words look on the page, and hear them in with the others. Now, all for now, Greg. Till then, sitting on this couch, to write. This morning, I'm thinking to myself, how the grace and blessings of the Spirit have truly been with us this recent year. Our weather, this morning, where I'm at, is just a beautiful, breezy December time, and I'm thinking that I've never seen such an ideal circumstances and climate for the prolific production of good art, music, poetry, and design in general. My part of the world, especially, has been blessed, and I'm going to think some this morning about these many blessings and the many ways that we can continue being individuals in a diverse society where basic liberties and amenities are so seen under. How can we continue to respect our unique specialties and not completely discount the roles of artists? For instance, in our society, increasingly, the recent years have brought such technological proficiencies to our land. I do feel that, if anything, our digital amenities, such as handheld, pocket-sized internet access, and personal computers which you can wear on your arm, or your head, or even your finger, have somewhat come of age in the first 25 years of this new century. Can we continue with a single-pointed approach in a world which demands diversity and conformity? If there is anyone, any power which can get into words the precise remedies for our fractured, tormented times, I feel it's Spirit's word. I don't care what it is. Spirit can't turn it around. Okay, maybe I shouldn't talk that freely, because we are each, everyone, called to be wise, to be prudent, to be thrifty. Have a look at our consumer society in general, and I think you will have seen how products which can be purchased at the store will all have met strict efficiency and sustainability standards. These products will be tested, reviewed, and certified to do what they're advertised to do. I think you'll agree how in any given centrist society, in other words, in a given solar system type of family scene, where the planets tend to orbit the central sun, we are all given fair share of the rights. Only, can you say for yourself what you say for your sister or brother? This, I think, is a very good and a timely question. Even the most brilliant among us will sometimes stumble or fall. This is partly why we have the mental health care system. A successful life program will have loving, caring family and friends. This is a given, isn't it? Without such as that, you would say, such couldn't last for long. Another might ask himself or herself, I do go by the rules, laws, and guidelines. So why am I shown such grief as I am sometimes? I think that so much of what we take for granted as having been fate or just bad luck might could have been foretold or foreseen by looking at our genetics, our chromosomes. This says it all, doesn't it? So, you tend to be a bit of a drinker. Haven't you thought how this might go back to your mother's dad? Or someone else, like that? Is this the way we can look at our genetics? See, I think that most everything that happens in our lives is based in heredity. Some countries revere their ancestors, above all else, as a part of their religion, and we begin with this. Why don't we? Why doesn't our society give more credit to our ancestry? Well, we do. Just look at the genealogy websites that are out there. But, if you don't want to be overburdened with self-importance, or burdens of imagined causality, for instance, you'll know, I think, how to shift the conversation off of yourself. Maybe this is really the hallmark of one's enlightenment. If he or she is able to temporarily step out of his mold long enough to draw up the plans for a new music album, or book, for instance, I feel like it's really something how it's not just myself. Everyone's got a niece or a nephew, or a cousin, or brother or sister, who struggled with individuation, with addiction, with ethical values, or choices. This last category, the having or learning of the values and ethics which bring one into harmony with his or her family background. This is hard for some people. Don't we sometimes compromise ourselves, our time, our patience, when we serve the customer? At any rate, I would love to have some kind of store, like a general store, or grocery store, where what I have is something that others want, or need, or tell themselves that they need, or think they need. But retail is, I think, the way that is closest to my heart, maybe even more so than music, or art. I like to feel useful, and to give it to you, what you want. I try to do this with music, and literature, my content development. How do you think I fulfilled this mission? Is my unique product unique enough for you to go out of your way for it, or is such lacking in style, grace, class, or design. At any rate, I have a few readers and listeners, and views, for my videos. I guess that this is my recompense, for caring about such appearances, about such products. In particular, right now, I've got numerous ideas of a centrist nature, reflections, and percolations, permutations of soul. Isn't this where our discourse is at this time? Now, this concept is a many-layered one, which I feel is just close to the hearts of our society, and of our season, our time of year, and calendar in general. The idea, I think, is to both shed light on the scene, and not draw excessive attention to one's own self. We can avoid this later thing, I think, in part, by walking the middle of the road kind of path. In other words, are you well versed enough to both paint a picture, and not have it come true? This is precisely what happened. You'll remember that 25 years ago. I thought I had the winning design, the sweetest sound, only to find such came true, for real. Such as this was hard on myself. Is there reason enough to believe that this similar thing won't happen again, a second time? How annoying can things get, when we see some patterns repeat themselves, occasionally? My reassurances are there, as well. I would say that there's no concerted enemy, anything like we faced 25 years ago. I think that I'm more worried about a natural disaster. The wild nature, I think, is the most robust adversary we've seen in recent years. Even some of the bad problems with our youth, some of them, are little more, apparently, than infestations of bad nature. Bad habits, sins and excesses, taken to extremes, and twisted beyond recognition by the presence of a gun in the person's life. I just wanted you to see how reflections of soul might well be not such a nice thing. Many of us won't remember that the worst natural disaster in human history happened on Boxing Day of 2004. The Sumatran tsunami. More than 100,000 people died. Saved through the eyes of friendship and affection is one thing, but when they have to see something so horrible as that was, we wonder what is the point. Having a spirit walk. What is this, if not an invitation to the horrors, in general? If you've got a good, beneficial friendship, you should hold on to it. But nature itself has shown itself to be very rude and angry. I myself get fussy sometimes, but I would never cross the all-important lines, and the blessings, I think, of existence for myself, far outmeasure the detrimental losses. But life itself will always be a mixed blessing. I mean, if we can see the glass as half full, then island nature is the best photographic subject there ever could be, but might never fit completely in a picture frame. At any rate, we should get back to what we were doing, only remembering how one might well know far more than he or she might let on about in the present. No one likes or will enjoy the agony of exigency. This will never change. Vanity of vanities, said the preacher. But the sunshine, with the breezes blowing around so sweetly, make this look like a nice day. The name of this audiobook is Reflections of Soul. Such writing, as I found today, though, has gotten kind of far out. So, how can we encourage the horse to keep pulling the wagon, even when there are distracting maniacal things on his or her mind? So, this is mankind's challenge, if you ask me. This keeping of a harmony and a balance between man and nature. And maybe I've said too much. This is the worry. At any rate, I think that the question still is, are we able to be unique and different, and still not draw excessive attention to ourselves? Isn't the game of life something like a stalemate, for real, when we get too close to the sun? At any rate, this has turned out to be a pretty good article, after all. I'll say a prayer for my spirit immortal, and think of some of the meanings and designs which could be seen as pertinent to my topic, and bring this article to conclusion. Now, I'll send this along your way now. All for now, Greg. Till then, just to get a few ideas started onto my page, I'm going to sit with this word processor, and see what is just beneath the surface of my mind and consciousness. We've got a beautiful sunny, but breezy and cold, Thursday morning, today. Our group, some of us, are going to our office this morning, for our team meetings. After this, we're probably going to get by the dollar store, to allow anyone who wants to get some inexpensive groceries. Then, we'll get back to our apartments, and can do whatever we want to do. I think that these podcasts are, in general, something audio which I want to listen to, maybe more than anything else in my library. They have a way of drawing the listener in, and completely captivating him or her. This is such a talent. If you give anyone my chapters a chance, I think you'll find yourself completely rewarded and engrossed. You won't want to break away from this good reading material. The recent past year has been so very productive. I don't think that I've ever felt so purposeful and blessed with good work. If you've not ever felt real purpose and meaning in your inner spiritual life, or felt very much chosen and selected out by the good spirit, then you've not felt this great meaning and purpose. At any rate, gratitude is my predominant feeling in response to this work. The saying, "It's good work if you can't find it," is the general view which I seem to find. So you'll find me on my best behavior if I have any say in things, which I definitely do. Anyways, sometimes I face tests, but I'm usually allowed to negotiate for a triumph. I only tend to stay to myself. This is the reason for a good communal home procurement. I can't do much good on my own. I'm thinking to myself how this brisk December air feels so good on my face and hands. It's great enjoying the road trip and really seeing the scenery going by, listening to the commercials on the local radio, and hoping that they'll play some good music. The contrails in the sky above, the layers of earth in the roadway cuts, neighborhoods I'm familiar with, the cozy warmth coming through the heat vents. I'm enjoying this drive. I conclude to myself, this word processor software on this smart device must have been made for only me. Of course I'm not the only one. I'm only as special as I'll allow myself to think of myself. Of course there's stressors, but they're not really real. I'm extremely glad to have my work squared away. No known issues at this time. So I'm blessed. That's about all there is to say about it. At any rate, we'll probably be here anywhere between 45 minutes and 2 hours. If the creek doesn't rise, we'll get back by or around our lunch. That's the goal. I have accomplished some making of Christmas presents. That's, of course, what the season's about. My folks taught me the importance of giving around this time. Not many among these groups really know this. It's hard to do, for one thing, with very limited funds. We all love to be able to give back. Not only does it take some starting funds, it takes presence of mind. It's easy to say, let's all do this, but we've all got unique situations. It's good being blessed enough to be able to give back. That's the meaning of Christmas, if you ask me. That really says it all, if you ask me. Well, anyways, we're having our kind of tri-monthly meetings, where we speak to our team leader, usually the doctor, and outline our goals and objectives. Whether it's quitting smoking, or getting hired for a job of some kind. Our meetings are like strategy planning sessions. Our last team meetings were a while ago. I can't remember if such was back in October. Of course this is December now, such might have been back in September. I've got the writer's voice. This is my main life blessing. It's good to be able to speak for myself in a way people will like and remember. But I don't feel very much like public speaking. I'm better at writing and journaling, I think. The Christmas decorations here look sweet. I think they're well done. Since I lost my mom this past month, I've noticed I like my piano videos better. I guess I'm a face only a mother could love as much as I'm finding. But I can't do good at audio recording, playing piano on tape, but probably not in person. At any rate, this is the world I know. I can't see from here well enough that the main thing people have common amongst one another is love of good music. If someone is given to play instrumental music, then they've probably got at least some skill. So, any artist you look at will have unique advantages in the field. I try to appeal to people, such as someone like my dad would like, and every once in a while, he calls just to talk. This makes me very proud. I can usually find something he'll connect with me about. If it's my new earphones, or something about our smart devices, or art. Doing art. I love very much when he'll give himself a real artistic victory, but it seems like most of the big ones come to his son, myself. I hope that, in Mom's absence, he'll dip into his talents more. He's good at portrait sketching, oil painting, and watercolor. I mean, really good. He was a commercial senior art director for 20 years, so he just knows what's good and what's not from his work experience. At any rate, sitting here, just now, looking across the room, out through the open blinds, I can't see. We've had a beautiful sunset this evening. One of the prettiest I've seen this whole year. The bird was making a message chirp as the last rays of sun disappeared below the horizon. I think it means that a hard freeze is coming, maybe even angry weather. Get ready. At any rate, tonight I have the notion to play my dinner music collection. It's much better than I remembered. I'm really proud of what I hear. I had no idea, really, that such measures up so well. Anyways, I must be Horatio Hornblower, or someone special like that. From the way I'm talking this up. Well, we'll see if this pans out. I guess that any proof will be in the download statistics. Well, tonight's the second Thursday in December, this year. If you want to know what a still, clear, midwinter's night is like, tonight's perfect for that. We're expecting temperatures down into the teens by mid-weekend. The bird had said, how could you sit inside in your warm air conditioning, while we'll be outside, shivering? He sounded mad. I told him, mentally, that I'll put some better seed out in the feeder. I'll get some tomorrow. And I will do that. At any rate, most of us, are not very involved in the show and tell fanfare, being more vegetative, or just not having a craft or hobby. But some of us just seem to engage more with the spirits of creativity. If there were such a thing, I think that such would be the things and thinking that ties in with a handicraft, or a speciality of some kind, such as art, or music, or writing. If you get good enough at a speciality, or craft, people will really reinforce, and thank you for showing them that, and giving a copy. Having an internet connection, and a desktop, or laptop computer, can really allow a person to learn AV production, and to develop unique product line. Publishing your own work allows you to circumvent a publishing company, a record label, altogether. If you want your work to be seen and heard, and the profit isn't necessary, or important, then this is the way. Although you can supplement your insurance money with some online sales, but I don't bother with such. I'm on a fixed income. Sales just don't bring in so much, even for commercially marketed AV products. The idea, though, can be to just reach hearts with your good talents. Well, I thought you might like to read the truths I've discovered about this like this. Maybe you'll feel like you've heard some honesty. Well, these thoughts seem to be coming to a conclusion about in through here, and I'm getting so hot, and need to take off a layer in here, so I'll wrap them up, and end with the others. Now, all for now, Greg. Tilda. I myself was raised in a good, Christian family. Me and my sisters were given a lot of good impressions, just of everything from homesteading, to gardening, to family values. And stories about our ancestors were a part of things at our home, too. My mom and dad practiced regular church attendance. This meant tithing. Still today, 40 years later, Dad still tithes to his church. I only wish that the pastor's sermons, that in our youth years, could have been talked about at home, at the dinner table, and we kids had been asked for our opinions about the message more often. Instead, I detached myself from the formality and started directing my attention to the worldly music, the country, and rock and roll, and folk icons. Such were simply much more exciting to myself than the rigid doctrines of our denomination. I fell headlong into the patterns of some of my drinker ancestors. Even my closest friends agreed that Greg either had to learn the hard way, the lessons of the streets, or else avoid secularism altogether. I couldn't stay away from secular culture. I went full on through the world music subculture. Alcohol culture and narcotics were a part of the streets, and I was there. I walked decrepit, and tended to go about things the wrong way, i.e. doubling dosages on any pain relief medicines, was par for my course. For example, good people in my midst spotted these signs, and I think, correctly concluded that I might have a career as a writer, or artist, or pianist. I was just going through a karmic overload for about the entire decade of my 20s. In the 1990s, in paying dues ahead of time, for the successes and failures to come, up around the bend. A 6-year purgation and pain period imparted to me an ironclad peace of mind, and built in me the logic of victory, despite the clouds. So, it was totally to my vexation and bewilderment, when in January of 1998, I had a serious suicide attempt, and woke up in the hospital recovery ward, with the lower extremity agitation completely gone. The curse had been reversed. I think that the point I'm making is that I traveled this path fairly well, and gotten these artistic goals met so far, and I'm just really impressed and interested to see anyone who I've followed for years, those who might be astrologers, or just journalists, spiritual writers, doing so well, and administering spiritual truths and astrological wisdoms to so many new people now. Part of me says that kind of spiritual ministry is much more appealing to myself from someone who I believe in than the conventional teachings of the usual conservative teachers in my land. But I know I don't want to sound as the Theosophists did in the early 20th century, with their criticism and distancing from the organized church at the time. Why did those Theosophists have to differentiate themselves from the conventional church? Because they, somewhat rightly, had guessed that they would be criticized by such church before even attempting to make a balance or a helpful friendship with the religious. Still today, my public image somewhat asks of myself that I make room for the secular humanist, or else alienate a big part of our society. I find myself glad when the astrologers who endeavor to find the truths within our stars and planetary configurations show up in my notifications, if only because these will usually be the underdogs and wizards, if you ask me. But I think that their pursuit of spiritual truths is just as hopeful and genuine as any of the ones who profess conformity to rigid guidelines. Of course, this is the very thing that disenfranchises me from the church ministers. Isn't your choices of food and drink in your personal life your own business? At least until you get hurt, or hurt someone. It's just that churches see everyone as a little baby, which needs careful guidance. Of course, that may be true, considering the rates of alcoholism and drug addiction in my land today. The rates of people acting very unwise. Tobacco addiction. But the secular spiritualist, or astrologer, to me is more assuredly focused upon the lessons and truths in the stars and planets, in the constellations, in the cosmic cycles, and less in the morality plane, or the sermonizing. Especially, this cyclic nature in the starry heavens, I feel is important to the secular humanist. If you want to learn about the precession of the solstice point, where the sun sets upon the night sky horizon, through all of the signs of the zodiac, to return to where such began, then you have to access the truths of astrology. 25 years ago, I was writing a book, which at the time, I concluded was to be based in numerological constants, and meanings in our calendars. So, each piece had a number designating itself. And the journey, for me as a writer, and the close examination of these numeric constants, and significances, was of course, for myself which I had to take. I knew that the journey itself would impart the necessary knowledge of those numeric meanings. And still today, these lessons remain. There are many numeric constants in nature. If only we can get the math and algebra worked out, we'll have the rule by which to know of similar values everywhere. Einstein figured out that the energy of a thing equals the mass of the thing, times the speed of light squared. What a truth! Knowing of that illumines everything else. The number of petals in certain flowers is known. The number of electrons and neutrons and protons which make up the atoms of all the elements in nature is known. The number of lengths possessed by millipith is known. There's another set of meanings and significances involving the rate of spin of the planetary bodies in our solar system. Just as well, I have learned, in the past 10 years, how the rate of spin of our star, the sun, is the cycle at the heart of the female human menstrual cycle. They're both right at 26 days. Does this mean that the female menstruation is based in the spin of the sun? It might. The scientists don't really have any conclusive way of knowing if this is true or not. But the correspondence is interesting. What do you think about this? Isn't this interesting? Correspondences happen in nature for reasons we don't always understand. I wondered, what is the length of the menstrual cycle of other animals? like chimpanzees or canines? Well, another day, maybe I'll Google it and see for myself. But not today. The study of nature is endless fun. A friend of mine knew cellular anatomy backwards and forwards. He could tell you all about ribosomes and Golgi bodies. We could always talk together, because I knew to ask questions and listen. This was a part of our life, and operated as a principle that could always be utilized. At any rate, I wanted to tell you everything I know about reflections of soul, so I had to cover these thoughts. Now, you somewhat have my information. Well, this article is coming to its conclusion, so I'll wrap this writing up and send along your way now. All for now, Greg. Tilda. There's a type of sentimental season, in passing sentiment, which symbolizes the passing, and which comes up at times of loss, and which pertains, I think, to the inner workings of the mind. Maybe, the super mind. When I'm feeling particularly bewildered, especially after a loss, I'll be glad, and relieved, to find some good messages from the within, from within my soul. This comforts and soothes the doubts and fears of the world that sometimes dish the unexpected. There's another thing that brings me comfort. Early television sitcoms and game shows, variety shows. Most any vintage video or audio offers many assurances that we'll get through difficult times. We got through 2 world wars, didn't we? We just can't have a 3rd world war. We only know what we went through in the 20th century. I have recently had a death in my family. Any unsettled or unsettling political circumstances are, I think, only temporary. We'll get through it. I'll find comfort and solace in my digital crafts, sampling, and writing, and editing, such as this journaling, or recording of my piano playing. This gross, sensual world is a menagerie. When you're doing any creative work, sampling, or writing, or editing, you'll have to turn off the television. The beauties are simply too attractive. Television is resplendent with great beauties, and, when it's playing, there's no point in trying to keep your attention on your writing, because you'll be too distracted. At any rate, we all know the story of how, when it rains, it really rains. There'll be too much rain altogether. Losing one's parent is not the end. I believe that heaven mainly consists in an inner communion. That's all we really know of it. Occasionally there's a sign, a crude scrawl in the sand, or a pile of stones, which someone's passage has left. But we know very little. The artistic projects choose who they wish to flow through. I think such might not be always based in family lineage. The artistic expression is a type of signal reception. Especially, this might show up around afterlife passages, which are significant to yourself. You might find a crown of thorns, or you might find an enormous field of clover, or some of both. But I think that when someone makes the passage to the afterlife, they'll be very exalted, and their youthful glory will be regained. I think that this is almost always true. Reflections of Soul is an excellent title for a new book at this time, because I think such points to numeric constants, which sometimes come up in living. There are all kinds of numeric constants. Everything from the precise number of protons, neutrons, and electrons making up an atom of every known element, to the hibernation term of the cicada insect. Numeric constants are a part of our lives. The 10-gallon hat, a 30-gallon bucket, the regulation number of cards in a playing card deck, the official dimensions of a basketball court. Fixed values are in everything, from the weight and size dimension of a masonry brick, to the correct ratios of ingredients in building cement. Numeric constants are in everything, down to the math and physics, which describe all of the behavior of electromagnetic fields. Consider this prevalence of numeric values, of constants. But I think that our world is based in divine patterns, which show up as math, algebra, physics. The thought that our physical world actually follows, or mirrors numeric patterns, I think is very profound. Spiritualism is a very interesting study. Spiritualists, I think, believe that invisible people walk amongst us. Hindus, I think, believe that the Brahma is the origin and destination of every manifest thing, or being, or idea. This philosophy suggests that we've all been living on Earth like planets many times before, and we will continually be reborn, and pass away, returning to Brahma. I've myself come to believe that the universe is not a finite volume, but an infinite volume. Therefore, there would always have to be an infinite number of habitable Earth-like planets in a similar evolutionary place as at this planet Earth. But, I'm told, how we've got to take care of this planet here. It's the only one that we have got to be concerned about. I'm getting these ideas down, partly because of the seasons, or reflections of soul. Soul is the life force, the energy source, the radiant heat source at the heart of our solar system, around which all of our lives are derived. Are we, as humans, really the sharpest tools in the shed? Animals are lacking in the usage of tools, or written literature. Of course, humans are specialists at these two things. We can even control and manipulate the invisible electromagnetic waves, which are continually enfolding all life on Earth. You can't see them, or feel them, but these waves contain the coded music and literary heritages of this land. There are programs which can tell you of everything, and nothing. Microwave signals surrounding our existences contain all accumulated human knowledge. Does this somehow mean that we are the gods? Well, I think that we're just mortals. But, if we'll search our souls, and diligently inquire of the within, we can enter into consciousness of the invisible hosts for real. Heaven is not an imaginary place, as some might claim. Such is as real as you'll allow yourself to believe, and one day we'll see it in technicolor. At any rate, these have been a few of my thoughts on this second Saturday in December this year. I really hope that the important men and women that run our planet, and that make our systems work properly, are pure of heart and deed. I hope that I can stay on my course as well. Well, the good Lord has got it under control. Or he or she will, once the way clears. Well, these thoughts are coming to their conclusion in through here, so I'll wrap them up and send along your way now. All for now, Greg. Tilda. Well, I'm sitting down to get some thoughts into this word processor, here on this third Monday in December, of 2025, this year. I can't put a good CD on my bedside player, and just let my ideas unfurl onto the page, and see what comes out. Especially, after difficult times, you can get to some writing, or journaling, and so as to remember the time, include some mention of what was going on in the world. The encompassing season seems to engulf all contemporary ongoings, and they soon become forgotten. So writing, or journaling helps us to remember the day. From the looks of things, the times, this year, are just about as perplexing, and bewildering as one could imagine. News of shocking mass shootings have come almost daily, for 2 or 3 days, and then, this morning, news of a grisly murder practically boggled my mind. Such is enough to make someone like me want to run for cover. But such are modern times. The weather temperature has been cold this morning. I think we got down into the teens last night. We're warming back up, today, and tomorrow. Just jotting these ideas down is a great deal of comfort. The communion which I find, just myself with my familiar spirit, is enough to keep me bent over this input device, looking for any sign, or sense from my within. There's nothing quite like writing, outwardly, from an inwardly perspective. My daily prayers are for me to be able to somehow make sense of this old world, and having a spirit guide is a necessity for this. Well, with this December more than halfway behind us, now, we're well into the festive season, and most people will be finding, or making some Christmas gifts. Most everyone will see family or friends at some point this holiday. This is partly where our thoughts will be. Getting some thoughts on paper, sorting my ideas out, will be something that I definitely want to do for myself. I've had an artistically very successful year this year, so not only will I be thinking of sharing some of these projects, I'll be immersed in recent work, when I'm not listening to that of others. That is, in a way, any time spent in communion and togetherness with one's own inner spirit is a good thing. It helps to know some of the inroads to creative self-development, such as this writing. I've written before how this is sometimes like putting a canoe into a stream. All of a sudden, you become part of a forward momentum, a flowing continuum. You tend to plan ahead and start thinking of finished equity. For someone who's experienced a content development, this will be like stepping into a soft, familiar pair of shoes. Try to keep in mind how this is the ideal state to be in. Beginning the creative project might even be sweeter than opening a Christmas gift to yourself. Here, you are entirely in command of what the product is like, and you can make it as unique as you wish. Having a trusted, mediumistic familiar, and especially in trusting his or her work, you can just let go, and let God. As I'm getting this writing along down this page, I'm thinking of an ideal future listen, when I get to listen closely to this playback. This somewhat immediately begins to brighten my moods. Slowly, I'll see the inner character of my new piece begin to form itself. This particular piece will probably form the conclusion of the new part 1 of this Reflections of Soul audiobook. Getting this first chapter squared away will allow me to focus somewhat better on getting gifts together. When I can be in touch with what my friends and family want as gifts, then I can make it happen. I'll take pride more in a gift that I know will be appreciated. It's a warmth to gaze from this bed, through my open window blinds, at the sun-dappled side of the adjacent house. Our sun will be sinking across the driveway to the west soon. It's giving its last full rays. Here, nighttime will be cold, but not as cold as last night was. But we do try and hold on to any warmth and comfort which we can find. When such seems to be in short supply, externally, it helps a lot to just make oneself comfortable, and resting one's hands on a word processor keyboard. This allows for incremental building and developing of essays, articles, and flowings. And I think that it's interesting to just see what gets written. Tomorrow I'm expecting to get to a local clinic for a medical checkup. This is something which we try to do every 3 or 4 months, just to check the basics, and make sure nothing has come up which needs attending to. I'll get this done, and be back here in no time, and then the next morning will be Wednesday. Another week flying by. Well, the time's almost supper time, and I'm looking forward to getting a bite to eat from the dining room across the driveway, in a few minutes. I've made myself a thermos of tea, and we'll go see about this food. Anyways, I was thinking about the forces of gravity and time, of how they equate to a downward force, uniformly around the planet. I think that it is true that certain practices and behavior can exacerbate and consolidate these forces. Their effects: tobacco usage, alcoholism, and narcotics might be a few. Consolidation of gravity and time is an interesting concept. I hope that the vast net cast across the face of the planet doesn't ensnare me, or lead me into toil, or danger. That was the amazing grace continues indefinitely, and that we continue to sing God's praise, and that we've no less days than when we had first began. We mortals can't know of quite what awaits beyond, but I know we'll sing something like this great hymn. Well, I'm going to conclude this article, and include it in with the others. I've got the better ideas for the music soundtrack for this than I have had recently. So, I hope to implement this production, and be glad to listen back enchantedly. Well, all for now. I'll send this along your way now. Greg?